Are you tired of walking into homes that look exactly like a catalog page? Do you want your space to tell your unique story while also making environmentally conscious choices? Today, I'm excited to share how vintage and upcycled pieces are revolutionizing interior design, bringing sustainability, character, and one-of-a-kind style to modern homes. The secret to a truly memorable space isn't buying everything new. It's thoughtfully incorporating pieces with history and giving new life to items that might otherwise be discarded. So let's explore how you can create a home that's not only beautiful and uniquely yours, but also kinder to our planet. Hi, my name is Shelly, and I am the director of Armada Design Center in Bellevue, Washington. I'm passionate about helping homeowners create spaces that reflect their personalities while making sustainable choices. Today, I'm going to show you how to incorporate vintage and upcycled pieces into your home for a look that's both timeless and fresh. Let's talk about why vintage and upcycled pieces are trending right now. The resurgence of vintage and upcycled furniture isn't just a passing trend. It's a response to several important shifts in how we think about our homes. Let's talk about environmental awareness. With growing concern about furniture's environmental impact, many homeowners are seeking sustainable alternatives. The desire for uniqueness. This is something that's interesting because most of us have a very unique personality and we want to let that shine. So as mass-produced furniture floods the market, there's a stronger desire for spaces that don't look like everyone else's. Are you ready to add some vintage character to your space? At Armada Design Center, we can help you identify which vintage pieces would work best in your home and guide you through the process of incorporating them beautifully. We are partners with local artisans who specialize in furniture restoration and upcycling to give new life to pieces with potential. Contact us today for a consultation and let us create a space for you that's not only beautiful and uniquely yours, but it also makes a positive impact on our environment. Your one-of-a-kind home awaits. Let's talk about quality recognition. Many vintage pieces were built with craftsmanship and materials that simply aren't economically viable in today's market. Character and story. People are incredibly drawn to items with history and character that mass-produced pieces simply cannot provide. I've seen this firsthand with clients who initially wanted all new furnishings but fell in love with the character and quality of vintage pieces once they saw them in context. You can find the perfect balance, vintage pieces in modern spaces. The key to successfully incorporating vintage pieces isn't creating a time capsule. It's about thoughtful integration, statement pieces. So here's the thing. Choose 1 to 3 vintage items to serve as focal points in any room. A mid-century credenza or an upcycled dining table can anchor a space while contemporary elements keep it fresh. Contrast and complement. Pair vintage or upcycled pieces with modern elements that either create beautiful contrast or complement the older items' lines and colors. All right, let's talk about cohesion through color. Use color to create harmony between different eras, perhaps pulling shades from your vintage rug into your modern throw pillows or your artwork. Modernizing with textiles. Update vintage furniture with contemporary fabrics. That Victorian chair looks completely different, reupholstered in a modern geometric print. Let's get into the art of upcycling. Transformation with purpose. Upcycling takes sustainability a step further. It transforms items that might be discarded into something new and absolutely beautiful. Creative repurposing. Old doors become headboards, vintage wine barrels transform into side tables, and reupholstered benches become a coffee table. How about refinishing techniques? Simple changes like painting, staining, or adding new hardware can completely transform any dated piece. Let's talk about functional updates. Adding modern elements to vintage pieces, like installing USB ports into an antique desk, creates the perfect marriage of old and new. Material mixing. Combining elements from different pieces often creates something more interesting than either original item, like this island buffet table. Notice how I incorporated a modern metal top with the craftsman style wood to freshen it up and make it look new and fresh. I recently worked with a family who had wood from an old barn that their grandparents had on their farm. And not only did we handcraft a beautiful bedroom set with the material, I also used some of it to make this mirror that I hung vertically in my living room to bounce light and give a little drama to the corner. They now have a gorgeous set that is a family heirloom, and I have a beautiful mirror that I created from the materials that were going to be torn down and just tossed out. What about when buying vintage pieces? Make sure you make smart purchases. Not all old furniture is worth bringing home. Here's what to look for. Good bones. Focus on solid construction and quality materials. Minor cosmetic issues can be fixed, but structural problems are harder to remedy. Timeless design. Some vintage styles have more staying power than others. Mid-century modern, for example, has proven its longevity in contemporary settings. Functionality. Consider how the piece will actually function in your life, not just how it looks. That gorgeous vintage secretary desk might be too small for your modern laptop setup. It certainly would be for me because I take 3 monitors to use when I work. Restoration requirements. Let's be realistic about the time, the cost, and the skills needed for any restoration. Some projects are simple while others require professional help. Do your research firsthand and find out what it would take to restore a piece before you buy it. I always advise clients to invest in pieces that speak to them personally. If you love something, you'll find a place for it, and it will bring you joy every time you see it. What about creating a cohesive look? Well, the biggest challenge with vintage and upcycled pieces is creating a cohesive look. Here are my top tips. Unified color palette. Let's use consistent color scheme throughout your space to tie different pieces together. Consistent wood tones. Try to keep wood tones in the same family or deliberately contrast them for intentional effect. Thoughtful arrangement. Place any vintage pieces where they can shine, not just crowded among too many other statement items. Let's talk quality over quantity. A few well-chosen vintage pieces make more impact than many smaller items that can create a cluttered look. How about telling your own story? Choose pieces that reflect your personality and your interests. The most cohesive element in any home is the person who lives in there. That's you. Here are my final thoughts. Incorporating vintage and upcycled pieces into your home isn't just a design choice, it's a lifestyle statement that values classic history, craftsmanship, sustainability, and individuality. By thoughtfully selecting pieces with character and giving new life to items that might otherwise be discarded, you are creating a space that's uniquely yours while making choices that benefit our planet. Remember, the most beautiful homes aren't the ones that look perfect. They're the ones that tell your story. They reflect your values, and they evolve with you over time. Vintage and upcycled pieces add layers of meaning and character that simply cannot be replicated with all new furnishings.